It's okay?
Okay.
I think maybe we should go further back.
Oh, I can go further back.
Oh. Okay.
Don't worry about that.
Okay. We are speaking to Mr. Mike Woolers, Chairman of Performance Additives in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Mr. Woolers, Performance Additives has achieved ISO at the US facility. Can you update us on the business over the past 1 year?
You mean in the US or just in general?
In general.
In general. Well, I mean, the past 12 months, we were fortunate because the raw material costs have pretty much stabilized at a certain level, and that helped to maintain our overall cost and price level. And so, well, China is not really performing to expectation. In America, the tire business is a little bit down by 4-5%, but still, since we are serving a number of different industries, we have been doing reasonably well over the past 12 months. Still developing new customers, pushing our green products based on renewable resources in the market, and that helps a lot.
What are the milestones achieved by the facility in the US and in Malaysia?
Well, I think the first milestone was that we almost started on time production. No, but the real milestone was they were in production for about 6 months, and then they achieved ISO certification, which is very important nowadays. Otherwise, you can't supply to any of the major customers. I think that was the biggest milestone right now. Other than that, everything is running fairly well there.
You have recently appointed a distributor in Brazil. Is Performance Additives expanding its network and its business reach to other countries?
Yes, but actually Brazil was the last white spot on the map. So far we cover almost every country, I guess with the exception of the Falkland Islands, which is not a country. But we're covering almost every country. Brazil was the last white spot, and it is very, very difficult to find reliable partners in Brazil, and that's why it took us so long. It's a very, very big market, very interesting market, and I must say we almost neglected it for too long.
Has Performance Additives launched any new products recently? And if yes, what are the benefits or features of these products?
Well, you know, new products, that's an old subject. You see, our R&D in the field of processing additives is pretty much market-driven. And market-driven means there's certain polymers that are being developed, certain filler systems that are being introduced, and they might or might not carry problems, processing problems, and that is where we come in. So if there's any new development in the market, for example, many years ago there was a polymer called epichlorohydrin which could not be processed very well. That's where we come in. That's where we have to start thinking. Well, our R&D department has to start thinking about solutions with either existing or new products. So right now our emphasis for new R&D is in our, not exactly the rubber field, but the plastic field, and in the plastic field specifically in wood plastic composites, which is typically a plastic matrix, and you add wood flour into it, and then you need an additive package to process it. And there we are doing things, the standard additive for WPC, wood plastic composite, is a lubricant. And what we are trying to do now, what we have done recently, we created products that have more than one function. They are not only processing additives, but they also have, for example, antifungal properties. They prevent water absorption, everything that is important in this field of application. So this is what we are doing right now. And of course, we never lose the focus of producing materials that are based on renewable resources.
How is the US plant performing?
Well, right now We are running on about 50% capacity, which could be a little more. We were expecting 60, but as I was saying, there was a general slowdown, or not the expected growth in China, definitely a slowdown in Europe and in the United States, and that all affected the speed of growth in the US. On the other hand, we didn't want to run on 100%, obviously, so we have still a lot of space to grow in there. And don't forget the plant in the US, they produce only one product line, which, again, because our philosophy is that we go where the raw materials are, so we keep our carbon footprint relatively small. And one of the reasons why we basically went to the US is because for this particular product line, the base raw material is crude oil based, and it's much more readily available in the US than here. That's the reason why we started producing. So they're basically stuck with one product line, and the growth cannot be as fast as if you have like 40 or 50 different products. Okay.
In your opinion, how is the market for specialty additives for plastics and rubber?
Well, specialty additives, let's talk about processing additives, because that's what we are doing. Okay? There are only less than a handful of major players. Let's say, including us, maybe 3 that are really relevant in that business. And there's, if you look at the crystal balls that the wise men look into, and they talk about the growth in the rubber industry, yeah, there will be growth, but it will be very moderate. And so all of us, the 3 major players, we are trying to expand into industries or product lines that are at least related to what we are doing right now. Okay, and that is like I was mentioning WPC, wood plastic composite. There is a big market in the United States. There is a very, very fast growth in China. So this is where we are going. That is where we expect our main growth. Of course, on the other hand, you still have multinational tire companies investing in Asia, putting plants into Asia, Indonesia, China, Vietnam, basically all the big ones, regardless, they're all putting money in there, they're investing in new capacities, and so that is where we also expect some growth.
Does Performance Additives have any other expansion plans?
Well, not exactly in the production area. You see, right now we are strategically based in Malaysia because of the raw materials. The same applies for the plant in the United States. And we have a 3rd plant which we acquired in 2011 in Italy. So we are already on 3 continents. If we ever consider producing in Europe, which right now there's no need for that, we can serve that market pretty well from here. So if we ever want to produce in Europe, we could utilize the facility that we have in Italy. There is plenty of available space, and we could actually, we have played around with the idea, but we put it kind of on the back burner, and so we're not doing it now. What we are doing more is expanding our distribution network by either acquiring distributors in certain areas. For example, we did last year in China, in Taiwan. This is now belongs now to our group. We intend to do that in other areas, in other geographical areas as well. So that's what we are working on, getting a little more forward integration. Right?
Well,
so not production.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Mr. Willis.
That was it. That was good. That was quick. Yeah. It's amazing. I was expecting at least a small video camera.